Making the most of tests and mocks. For many schools, November, December and January are test season. Whatever the year group, progress needs to be checked, tracked and monitored in order to ensure the best outcomes for pupils. Depending upon your year group and individual school's policy, you may find yourself with a heavy test marking schedule over the coming weeks and months. Making these tests count is absolutely crucial for your well-being, that of your pupils and their potential for success. Here are some key questions to consider when setting, marking and evaluating tests for your classes. Number 1. What is the goal of the test? You need to know this, your pupils need to know this, their parents need to know this. Clarify with your head of department and senior leaders what it is they would like to see come out of this test. Is it a progress check? Is it a learning opportunity? Is it a warning or wake-up call to pupils? Once you are clear what the goal of the test is, you can share this faithfully with your pupils and get more chance of buy-in. If the test is designed to show where they are now and the results will prompt further intervention, be upfront with them about this. They're far more likely to respond as you would wish if they understand why they're being tested and the potential consequences. Number 2. Goal in mind, what is the best format for the test? If the test is aiming to show exactly what they would do in an exam if they sat it now, then give them a full mock exam. If the test is aiming to judge subject knowledge in gaps, essays and full tests may not be necessary and you could provide a far less marking heavy multiple choice style test for this. This also lowers the potential stress on pupils. If you do wish to give full exam questions, is last year's exam paper the best option? In most subjects, the questions from last year are extremely unlikely to be repeated next year. A quick rewrite or questions from old papers could give your pupils a chance to answer and receive feedback on questions that could actually come up in their real exams. Number 3. How will feedback be provided? Working within your school's policies and expectations, what is the nature of expected feedback for these tests? Some creative options could include a mark with few comments, which allows for whole class feedback and pupils noting their own strengths and areas for development. Shorthand marking codes shared with pupils. Verbal feedback with actionable advice. Talk to senior leaders and clarify the minimum written feedback required and consider using other ways to provide feedback than reams of handwritten notes. Insider information alert. Very few pupils read all of your detailed and time-consuming written feedback. They look at a number or a grade. Number 4. How can you make this test go beyond its purpose? If everyone involved is going to spend hours setting, answering, marking, feeding back and recording data from this test, you may as well make it as versatile as possible. Consider all the many ways you can use this test in the future. Pupils can use it to write personal action plans and revision schedules. Pupils can rewrite and self-mark questions. Pupils can write their own exam questions using their tests as models. Pupils can improve and learn from each other's work. Notice the emphasis on what the pupils can do to make these tests count. You will be doing enough already. Place the responsibility back to them and give them tasks to make the time they spent answering the tests worth it. On that note, a final piece of advice a wise teacher once gave me. Your school will have a policy expectation of when these tests must be returned, and some colleagues will frustrate you by returning them earlier than you. If your pupils begin to question when you will get their tests back to them, A. Assure them they will be returned in the time dictated by school policy, and B. Remind them of how long they spent answering the test. How long would they want you to spend reading and responding to a test that took them so much time and effort? Get them to do the quick mental maths of multiplying their response by the number in the class, and you've just very positively reminded them that good quality feedback is respectful, important, and takes time. Good luck with test and mock season. Look after yourselves and look to each other for support. I bet someone in your department has a handy assessment feedback sheet that could halve your marking time. Just ask them. Remember, you can read all of our blogs at www.fulcrumlearning.co.uk/blog. Listen on Facebook and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.